Let's check out these common help desk issues that you'll be getting many calls about, and also look at the solutions by looking at the problem. The first most common issue you're going to get is you can't log in. Here are some common solutions for when a user calls and says they can't log in, such as making sure that they don't have the caps lock turned on. That happens a lot. And then, of course, if they type the password incorrectly a certain amount of times, it's going to lock out that account and you'll have to unlock it. The user's password may be expired or the account may be suspended, so you'll need to go into Active Directory to take a look at the account and see what's going on. And then you may need to reset the password for the user, especially if the user has just forgotten what their password is. A lot of times users would ask me, can you just tell me what my password is? And the answer is no, because we typically don't save passwords and there's no way to look at them inside Active Directory. The best answer for them is just to reset it. Here's another common issue. Deleted files need to be restored. The user will call up and say that some of their files are missing and they need to be restored. Well, first you need to check to determine if the file is in the recycling bin. A lot of times users forget that that's the default place where they go. And if it's not in there, then you have a couple of options. One is to restore from backup, but an even easier way, if you've enabled this either on the user's computer or on the server to which they're connecting, is to use what's called a volume shadow copy restore. That's where there's a hidden portion of the hard drive of either the server or the client's computer that keeps backup copies that you can restore without going into the actual backup and restoration process. If that hasn't been enabled or you can't find it, then of course you'll want to go through a standard restore. I've gotten this next one many times, and the client will say, my computer is slow. So how do you handle a computer that's slow? And here are some solutions. You want to assess the user's CPU usage. So you go into Task Manager and you take a look and see, is the disk bottlenecked? Is it running at 100%? How about the RAM? Is it all being used? What about the CPU? The processor spiked at 100%. If all that is happening, find out which file is causing that to be at 100%. Now, maybe there's an anti-malware check running in the background. There's really nothing you can do until that's over if it's being pushed out through a group policy. But it may be that there's malware, or it may be that there's a program that's not running correctly on that person's computer that needs to be fixed or removed. You can also remove temporary files from the Windows folder and check that the hard drive isn't full. A lot of times clients won't realize that their computer hard drive is full. They'll just keep saving things to it until it becomes very slow or unusable. Not only is it a problem if the computer runs slow, but you could also have a slow internet connection where the computer is running just fine. So how do we solve a slow internet connection? We need to determine how many people are going to be affected, if it's just this user or if it's for the entire organization. If it's the entire organization, then you may find that there's a problem at the internet service provider or the firewall. Something in the server room may be causing a problem. If it's just this one particular user, then you're going to want to start by checking the IP addressing and the DNS information. The DNS is going to resolve the names to IP addresses like google.com to whatever IP address they're trying to get to. Check it against what the company's IP addressing scheme is and make sure that it's set up correctly. Now, it's possible they have a static IP, or maybe DHCP has run out of IP addresses. That's the service that automatically assigns IP addressing to clients. And sometimes that happens, and you'll need to expand the scope or delete some unused IP addresses. The next one could be printing problems. When a poll was taken of sysadmins to ask them what was the thing that drove them crazy the most, it was always printing problems at the top of their list. So what are the different things that could be causing printing problems? There's lots of different things that could cause printing issues. Of course, you want to make sure the printer is turned on. You want to make sure there's paper in the printer. and there's ink or toner, that kind of thing. Paper jams, they need to make sure there's no paper jams, or if there's a flashing error code on their printer. Now, of course, if the printer is in the same location you are, it's fairly easy to dispatch a tech to take a look at it. But if it's at their home, then it's going to be a lot more difficult to problem solve. You may need to walk them through clearing a paper jam or replacing a toner cartridge. Lots of different things here that can cause printing problems, and sometimes it's just going to require someone on site to fix it. Many companies have access to a shared drive. Maybe it's a G drive or an S drive, something like that. And for some reason, that drive has just disappeared. And even logging off and logging back on, the script trying to reconnect that particular shared drive just doesn't work. So what could that be? Well, we want to ping the server. We want to make sure that we can even reach the server. So most likely you're going to start by remoting into that person's computer. Now, of course, if you can't get into that computer, well, now we know the problem is that they're probably having an IP addressing problem or some connectivity issue. But if you can get into their computer, then you can pull up a command prompt and you can try pinging the server that they're trying to connect. Maybe even go into the run command and do a / server name / share name and see if you can connect that way. It's possible the server may be down. That could be the issue. And of course, that would be the issue for everyone trying to connect to it. In that case, it might be time to escalate the issue to the server team to take a look. What about the client may have malware? This is a tough one. Now, if they're at home, then they're probably just going to be at risk of infecting other computers at the house. Now, if they're VPN'd into the office, it's possible that malware may jump across the VPN tunnel. And of course, if they're in the office, that's even a greater problem. So what would you do here if you suspect malware? I would have the user immediately remove their computer from the network. And that could be they unplug the network cable, or you walk them through disconnecting them from the Wi-Fi, whatever it takes to get that computer off the network. And then I would try to get on site to where the computer is if it's local to where I am. But if the computer is remote, then you'll want to shut down the computer because it could continue encrypting or deleting or corrupting files the longer that computer is on. Now, to remove the malware, that's a whole other situation. You're going to probably want to remove the hard drive from the computer, take that hard drive to a sandbox location where it can't affect anyone else. We also might refer to that as air-gapped if it's not connected to the network, and then scan that hard drive and remove the viruses, or possibly just format it and start over. Nowadays, you see a lot of people have a wireless keyboard or mouse, and they'll call and say that it's not working anymore. It was working this morning or yesterday, but it's not working today. How would you fix that? The most common issue that I've seen when you have a Bluetooth wireless connection from your keyboard and mouse to the computer is that the batteries have died. This is a pretty normal thing, and you need to make sure that the user has batteries nearby, or if they're in the local area network, then of course you can dispatch someone to deliver those batteries. However, I've also seen an issue where you have multiple people all very close to each other with their wireless Bluetooth keyboard and mice. And then you have some cross-connection problems with other Bluetooth users. And that's because the bandwidth for Bluetooth is very narrow. And it's possible that if you have 3 or 4 people in a row, that they're going to cross into each other. And unfortunately, there's only a couple of solutions for that. One is to separate the users. The other is to replace them with wired keyboard and mice. The dreaded blue screen of death calls do happen, and in that particular case, you cannot remote into their computer. You're going to have someone go on site after, of course, you try restarting the computer. But what else would you do in this case? The blue screen of death is basically just a blue screen that has an error on it, and it's often caused by hardware. or the computer's driver. So it's hardware that interfaces with the operating system, and there's a driver to make that happen. And sometimes the driver gets corrupted, becomes unusable, or just outdated because Windows did an update and made that driver no longer work. So sometimes all it needs is a quick reboot, of course, and if that doesn't work, then you may need to go on site to fix that particular issue. Microsoft also has what's called a mini dump viewer. So when you get a blue screen of death, it automatically creates a dump file in most cases. And you can download the mini dump viewer from Microsoft.com, and then you can read what that says. It oftentimes points to where the problem is. And of course, you're going to absolutely get a computer won't start call. That's just going to happen. Let's take a look and see what we could do to fix that. Well, sometimes it's just not plugged in. Someone forgot to turn the on button on. Lots of different things. They need to hit a reset button, or you need to deploy a tech to investigate further. So how did you do? I'll bet that you were close or right on in many, if not all, those cases. Being prepared for the most common issues will get you through many tickets more efficiently and let you focus on more difficult ones.